Hey everyone, it's Foxx from Model Making Guru here, and welcome to part 3 of our build of the Italeri 1/24th scale tranny van, knackered old tranny edition. Hello, hello. I can smell the slow cooker downstairs with a gammon in it, and it's making me really hungry. Anyway, forget about that. Where are we up to? Well, we did a lot of gluing in the last episode. We've got a little bit more to do in this episode, basically these parts here. Then we can crack on with getting everything primed. I'm doing it in sub-assemblies. There are some bits I'm not assembling yet. So we're going to get these stuck on. We're going to do some priming probably. I have a funky thing to do with tinfoil that may or may not work, and I don't know whether any of this will be in this episode, because I always think this is what's going to be in the episode, and then I totally get sidetracked and it doesn't happen. So I'll just shut up and not say what's going to be in this episode. How about that for an idea? Right, so what we need to do now is a few bits and bobs on the floor pan. And also in the cockpit and gefahrten. So, and again, apologies, this is still black parts, they're probably still not going to come out. So need to swap the gear stick and the handbrake in. Dead simple. Couldn't be more simpler. So we'll get the gear stick, or gear shift as our American cousins would call it. What we're going to do is get this glued in. So let's get some glue on the brush. Let's put the glue over there. Little touch of glue. Make sure it's facing the right way. And stick it in there like that, you see. Next we have the handbrake. Now it's very important. We're in the UK, so of course we drive on the correct side of, the right side of the car. So the gear stick will be on a certain side. Obviously, it's not going to be on the passenger side. The gear stick, the handbrake. Just consult the leg end. That needs to go there. So it needs to go in here, like this, you see? And it fits perfectly, except that's the wrong way around. I know how cars work. So that needs to go there. And that's the noise it makes when you pull it. Just double check. What does the leg end say? Yes, that's right. Apologies, I keep going off camera. I've got the instructions to one side, but I can't have them here because there's all wires you can't see here hanging down from the T camera and T microphone. So yeah, so that goes there. So I've dry fit that, so I'm not going to put the stuff on the peg. I'm just going to touch glue to the bottom, and that will go underneath. And again, I'm taking most of the glue off the brush and just, hopefully do it on camera, just touching the brush to the bottom of the part. It will suck glue underneath, and there we have it. And handbrake and gefahrten mit the stoppen und the cool turning, ja. There you go, there's the handbrake noise. I can't make the handbrake noise. So that's the handbrake on. I told you this bit was going to be quick, apart from the 10 minutes of waffling. So that's that bit, that's all the stuff I need to do on there. The next step, according to the leg end, is, I'm skipping steps here, and there is a plan why I'm skipping steps. I'll just put the lid on the glue. I don't want to do a Tony and spill it everywhere. Hi Tony. We've done the hand and brake and gefahrten. We need to put the pedals on the dashboardings. Everybody knows what the pedals are, as long as they look like pedals. So that's in. So again, just gonna, there's a little thing on the back. I hope this is coming out. Where it goes in the back, I'll just put some glue on there. And I'll put a little touch of glue just underneath, just to lock it in, and I'll just straighten up a little bit because it's not quite straight. Apologies if my head keeps coming in shot, by the way. Okay, there we do, that'll do. So I'll just secure that again. The truth is, you're not actually going to see that bit anyway, so that's that done. The next step is to attach the bit that goes into the steering wheel, which has a specific name that is something or other. Now, what I will do before I stick this piece on, just thinking about it now, is I will get the actual steering column and just double check it fits in the hole. Before I start committing. Yeah, there we go, that's fine. So that fits in there. So I know I can, because I'm going to leave this till later, you see, I'm not putting this in now. So we're just going to attach this here like this. We'll see. Can I get around? Yes, I can get around the back. So because I can get around the back to these holes, I'm just going to pop it in. Pop it in there and then glue it in place. If I can find the holes. Sometimes if you want to avoid mess, especially with little tiny fiddly parts, if you put glue on them and then try to get them in place, sometimes you can just end up getting glue everywhere and it makes a mess, and that's why this extra thin, available from emodels.co.uk. And I forgot to say that at the start. This is a build for emodels.co.uk, as you know. Sorry, Pete mate, Gav mate. Sometimes it's easy to put the piece in and then glue it, because it's going to get sucked in and you're not going to get tons of glue everywhere because you're fiddling to try and get a piece. And like I was with the gear shift. Is that? Yeah, so I'm making sure that's in properly. Okay, so that is that. Now, I'm not going to do the steering wheel yet, because when we've painted this, there is a decal to put in here. And I can't get to it if there's a big honking steering wheel. Well, I probably can, but I might want to paint these little buttons as well. So I'm going to leave that as that is. I'm not going to glue the seats together because I have a plan for those. I'm not going to glue the seats in or put the legs on because I've got a plan for those. Not going to put the doors and the glass in the doors because I've got a plan for those.
Okay, children, we're going to play a fun game now. It's called Who is Your Daddy and What Does He Do? No, wait, that's not right. It's Let's Make Furniture Out of Tin Foil. Yes. There is no bathroom.
Sorry, I don't know where I was going with that. Anyway, what are we doing next? Well, before we do the priming, there's an extra step. We have to do this. Look at that. Shiny, shiny. Now, this is the driver's seat, and as you can see, it's covered in tin foil. How cool is that? This is bog standard cooking aluminium foil. I have used white PVA glue, water-based, your friend and mine, and stuck it on, and then rubbed it down to make it fit. Now, it looks a bit rough and ready and crappy, but that's fine. Why have we done this? Well, all will be revealed. But for now, I'm just going to show you how we did that. So we take our seat. You can see here I've done the butt area, where the butt goes, the butt of driving. And when I did the first one, I tamped it all down. When I did this one, I left this bit a bit untamped. And you can see there, it's got this wonderful crinkliness, which looks like old vinyl. Cool. So it's dead easy. Get yourself a piece of cooking foil. Typically, you've got a shiny side and you've got a matte side. I'm using the matte side to stick down because the glue will have more grip to it. And I'm kind of hoping when I've done this that the primer will stick. I'm kind of screwed if it doesn't. I could be driving headlong into a brick wall right here. So what we're going to do is I've cut the foil so it's got the nice straight edge here, and I'm going to jam this edge into this corner as the first step. So what we want to do is get some white PVA glue. You can get it from anywhere. Just normal hobby PVA glue. It's water based. I've mixed in a little bit of water to this, just a tiny amount, because it's getting a bit thick and stodgy. The first thing I'm going to do is apply some of the glue to the seat. I'm not being careful. You know me, I never think about these things. I'm not being careful. Just stick it. I don't want too much, because if I put too much on there, then when I try and stick it down and squish it and make it conform to all the edges, of course, it's going to get lumps and bumps. I want it to be fairly thin, smooth, which is why I've added some water to it, but only a little tiny bit. So let's just get this down. So we need to get it down first of all. I'm trying to get this edge into the corner. Then we need our good old friend, the cotton bud, or Q-tip as our American cousins would call it. Hello in the colonies. Now what I'm going to do now, first of all, is just very gently tamp it down with my hands in the way of the camera. And this is just to get all the details popping. And tin foil is wonderful stuff because it will conform to any surface you put it on. And the white glue is just a way for me at the moment just to stick it down so it's not going to move around. Now I have seen people do this with super glue, and that's fine, but super glue is kind of permanent and it's also quite thick. And what I want to be able to do, as you saw just there, perhaps is I wiggled this a little bit to push it down there, just so it joins in this edge a bit more. Now I've not glued the sides yet, just the back part where your back goes. So at the moment I'm doing just this one area just to anchor it. just to anchor it down so it's not going to move every 5 seconds while I'm rubbing it down. And I'm working the creases out and up towards the top if I can, and if I can do it on camera. Unfortunately my hand's in just the way and in the wrong place. I'll just move my head so I can see what I'm doing. Right, so that's on. So it's on there, and it's not obviously fully stuck, but it's anchored. Now, what I want to avoid is putting my finger in the glue underneath. Hello, simpleton. What I want to avoid, if I can, is big creases on the corner. Now, on the other seat, I didn't do this, so I did end up with some sort of creasy bits on the corner, but I can live with that because it just looks like crinkled vinyl. Got glue on my mat and everything now. Oh, do you know, such mess. Hang on. Right, so what I want to do is find the corner here in the seat, and I want to basically cut away, on camera ideally, a square, just the square that goes from corner to corner. This is why I glued the top bit down first, so I can lay it flat and have it like this so I can see what I'm doing, and so it's not going to move every 5 seconds. Okay, so that's that done. So this is glued onto there. So what I'm going to do now is come back mit the glue on the brush, and I'm going to put some glue on two sides without putting a finger in that glue, and a bit there. That's probably far too much, so I'll just get some off. Again, I'm trying to avoid so much glue that it looks, you can see the glue. I want to keep it kind of reasonably, sorry I'm knocking the camera, reasonably thin. Down here doesn't matter because I want to really pile it up on the edges. Get it on that bit there. What I'm going to do now is quite simply push all this lot in. So again, I've got to be careful not to, hang on, I'm covering myself in glue. It's very messy, so do proceed with caution. I've got to try and do it in such a way. See, I pulled that forward, so I need to push it back again. It's quite fiddly. I need to fold this bit over first, the top bit, and that then, and pushing this down here and into the edge here, anchors it in place now, so this bit isn't going to move forward when I do the other bits, hopefully. So what you need to do is just tamp that down with the cotton bud. I'm not worried about it being smooth here because you're not going to see this bit, but that just hopefully gives it some grip and locks it in place. So then I take the side parts and I do exactly, I fold them over and just squish them in. Now it is quite fiddly. In the first, when I did the driver's seat, I was kind of doing it for the first time and it came out a bit gash. This one's come out a lot better. So we'll just fold that corner in there. So again, we'll get the cotton buds and we'll just tamp it in. I like that word, tamp. We'll just squish that down. I keep knocking the camera with my visor, I do apologise. Okay, so that is in. Now you can see this has gone a bit wrinkly up here now, hopefully. So what I need to do is come back and smooth that out with smoothing. And it's dead easy. I'm just rubbing it with the cotton bud. Oh, put my finger in the other glue part. This is the only downside, once you've done one bit, it's hard to do the other bit. Just do that. Now you can see it does still have some wrinkles on the sides, so I can flatten those down a little bit if I wish to, but I don't want to do too much. Because if you look at old vinyl seats, they're often crinkly and worn, and you'll see in a minute when this is dried and we can do some more things to it, it cracks. UV makes it crack over time. It breaks down and cracks. So we're just going to keep buffing this in and rubbing it in. So what I need to do is put glue in here. This will serve two purposes. It will hold down the foil that's in the back, and it will also hold down, hopefully, if I get it the right way, this part which goes in the back. If I've got this the right way around. There we go. Bingo. So that slides in. So that's the back of the seat. Any glue that splooges out, you can just wipe it away. So let me just get a little bit of glue and I'll get a cotton bud ready. So I want to make sure the plastic part is in. Now it's not going to come out. I mean, it's in there and it's jammed in with the foil anyway, and you're never actually going to see this part. But it doesn't do any harm just to stick some extra glue in there. So that is how we're doing that. So I'm going to leave these to dry for a while. And when it's dried, I'll come back and I'll show you exactly why we did that. And we'll find out if it actually works. I've never tried this before, and I didn't know how to do this, and I was trying to think in my brain of great thinking, how the hell am I going to do ripped vinyl? So hopefully this will give us an idea. And what I'm going to do is exactly the same. I won't show you on camera because you've just watched me do it for 10 minutes. I'm going to do exactly the same in the roof liner here, just to give the effect of a roof liner. So when we come back, I'll have done that and I'll show you exactly what we're going to do. So, back in a moment. Okay, on to the next step. Right, foil's on. It's had a while to dry. It's not fully dry underneath yet, but it's dry enough for me to handle. I've gone over it with the cotton bud again, just to tamp it down a bit more. Put the legs on. I didn't actually need to glue these. They're such a tight fit anyway, but I have put a little bit of glue on the bottom of each leg. But yeah, you could just slot those in. They're such a tight fit that they stay in by themselves. So, next step, let's give it the knackered vinyl look. So, all you do is basically use a knife and some tweezers. Now, there is a certain logic to follow with damage to car chairs. After, you know, working in detailing for a few years, you see damage to chairs, and it's usually around bolsters and the front. You don't often get damage around the back, but often down the bolsters, the side and the front. So what we're going to do, I'm going to put some damage on this puppy. This is where the vinyl's split and cracked. So we're going to put a little nick here, right on the corner. I'm going to put a little nick here. I'm going to put that right down to the bottom. We're going to do one here. And just so you know, I have stabbed myself once already doing this. Yeah, I live true to my nature. And we're going to expand on this one at the corner. We can just do that with the tweezers. And then what we'll do one, where should we do one on the seat? Let's do one, because this is where the passenger gets in, so more likely this seat's going to be used than that seat. So this is why I'm logically doing it on this side, not that side. This seat would see more wear and tear, so I'll do a little one here. Okay, and all we're going to do is take the tweezers and we're going to tweeze. Should have really twisted the blade a bit, shouldn't I? There we go. And you don't have to be too precious and too careful. Just go in and kind of rip them. Sorry, I keep knocking the camera again. That's going to do. What I'm trying to do is get it, there we go, get it to lift up. So we have that kind of a rip there. We did one here. Where did we do it? I can't see it now. It's here. See if I can get the tweezer underneath and get it to lift up rather than just rip. There we go. That's quite nice. One there. We'll pop this corner out a little bit. Sticking my tongue out. There we go. It's folded back on itself. Quite nice. And then this one here. We'll see if we can make a little sticky out pocket. Probably won't be able to, but we'll give it a go. There. Perfect. See how it sticks out like a little pocket? And that's all I'm going to do on those. That one was already there when we tamped it down. So that's going to do. I've done the driver's seat as well, a bit more, because that gets more wear and tear. Oh, I forgot to say, I've done the roof as well. Forgot that bit. You can see here I've done the roof. Exactly the same principle. Put it down, glued it down, cut it to shape as best I could. I've made a few marks with the knife and then I've teased it up. And what hopefully it will give is that kind of effect where the roof liner has been knackered and it won't really come on camera, well it might do. But it hangs down, so you can kind of see. If you look through will it come out? Not really. But if you look through the side, you can see it kind of hangs down like the liner's come off, and I didn't fill in those little ejection marks, but the beauty of this is they're still there, but the fussiness of the roof liner kind of distracts you from it. I mean, you're only ever going to see it from that kind of angle anyway, sort of like that. So you're not really going to see them, and even if you were able to, the roof liner distracts from it, so you shouldn't really notice them. And it's cut along here because the back wall needs to come in here. It's not quite neat there, but you're not actually going to see that. And if you do see it from the side, your eye is tricked into thinking it's a nice straight line because you wouldn't see it that much. So that's the roof liner done as well. So let me go off and, like I say, get all the spray booth ready, and we'll do some spraying. Okay, swift change of plan. Before I do the primering, I have to do the rust damage with my old friend, the little hand drill. This is a Rotorcraft, but any kind of Dremel or Rotorcraft hand drill will do. Little tiny thing. And all we're doing, and I've done some already, is we're drilling in rust damage where rust has eaten away at the metal. I'm not doing massive amounts. I've done a bit on the mud on the rear arch here and on the corner of the door and at the bottom of the door. I've varied between what you might see in the light dimples and scrips and scrapes, and then holes. I've got some down the front of the bonnet, and I've got some on the rear wheel arch there, and I'm going to do some on the bottom of both of the doors and the tailgate. What I'm going to show you is how I do it on this door. What I want to do is basically put rust damage on the door here, but not on this panel. I want it just the door has been corroded away here where the metal is thin because it's the bottom of the door. I hope this is in focus. I have damage here, but not on this part. So what I've done first of all, I've drilled 3 pilot holes with a pin vise. No idea what size this is. Now you can use whatever size you want. If you want to get lots of little holes that are all kind of linked together, like this kind of effect here, you can use smaller holes. I managed to get that, even though I used quite a big one. It's quite a big one. This it's probably about, I don't know, half a mil, something like that, 2/3 of a mil. I don't know. So yes, so I've done some on the bonnet there, done on the side. So I'm going to put some on this door, and then I'll do the base of both doors and the tailgate. So what I'll do, this is horribly noisy, so I'll turn the sound off when I'm doing this, and I'll do the overdubbing talky bit. Okay, right, you can see now I've done some quite extensive damage. Oh, now it is quite a struggle to not end up with just 2 round holes. It seems bizarre, but it looks right now like 2 round holes, but you can see all the cratering on there, hopefully in the light. So once this is painted and primed and everything else, and then I put in rust on there, I might be able to exaggerate that a bit more and start to build it out. So that's going to do it for the bodywork. I'll do the same on the bottoms of the tailgates and the bottoms of the doors, just a little bit here and there. Usually it's in the corners where it starts to rust, so I'll go and do that. And then when that's all been done, we'll do some primings with the primings. Okay, right, that's the priming all done. As you can see, it makes the rust damage look a bit more sensible, makes a bit more sense to your eyes. especially where there's little dimples and things that I've just dimpled in the surface. It just makes it look more like rust damage and not just like I've just drilled holes in it. So we have the main parts primed. Everything's been primed. What we're going to do next is concentrate on getting the rust down on all these sort of outer body shell parts and the floor pan and the chassis. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in with some funky rust colours. I have here, just happen to have 3 MIG colours. We've got Shadow Rust MIG 043, Red Brown Base AMIG 913, and we've got Yellow AMIG 048. And I've got a red somewhere as well, but I can't find it, but I'll have to dig it out. Either the Tamiya or the MIG red, just a flat red. What I'm going to do is do a base coat of Shadow Rust, first of all, to get the basic brown colour, and then using an old, crappy brush, I'm going to see if I can stipple on some various shades, either just straight the red brown base for lighter colours, mixing some red, mixing some yellow with both of these, and just randomly stipple around the body parts just to get some variation, because rust isn't just brown, it's all different shades of brown, so I want some variation. I could airbrush it. I'm going to airbrush the first base coat, but then after that I want to make it spotty and patchy. It'll make sense when you see it. So let me go and get the airbrush ready, and we'll do that, and then we'll do some stippling. Back in a moment. Okay, so you can see now the Shadow Rust airbrush layer is now dried. It's not perfectly smooth. You'll see in that little video I was waving my airbrush around like a mad fool. It's kind of random and patchy. It might not come out screen, but it's not perfect. But I did all the interior as well, apart from the front here, which I'm going to paint black. And I tried to avoid the roof if I could. Did the back of the flatbed, not this part, just the back bit here, and the entire underside. I did the doors, the tailgate, and the interior back wall. So what's the next step? Next step is to break this up a little bit. Yes, fun time, messy time. So I'm going to take my red brown base, AMIG 913. Going to get out quite a lot onto my little painty pallety plastic thing. Going to take a piece of tissue, which I, as usual, didn't have prepared. I'm going to use a big old brush, not the one I showed before, but it's a very similar big old brush. It's just a scruffy old thing. I'm going to load it up with some paint. I'm going to try and get a chunk of it off. A bit like dry brushing, but not too much. It's only a little bit of paint coming off. And all I'm going to do is spackle it, basically. Americans might call it spackling, or similar phrases. But I'm just going to really stipple it everywhere, just to vary things up. And I'm not being too careful, I'm not thinking about it particularly. I might stick to corners and edges a little bit, especially where I've done some drilling work, because this is supposed to show fresher rust. Obviously, as rust ages on a vehicle, it gets darker, and rust is all different colours anyway. So this may look a bit haphazard, and it may be a bit out of focus. Let's do the other side, because you can see that bit. Oops, let's just drop it, that'd be great. I'm running out of places to hold this now, so we'll go around the wheel arch again. Around the door frame areas and the bottom of the van. And again, I'm not being careful, I'm not thinking at all, because a lot of this, 99% of this stuff is going to get covered up. This This is just so that when we do have the rust exposed later on, you might see some little bits of patchy mottling. We'll go on the edge here. And this is the fun bit, because this doesn't require you to think at all, apart from think about where the heck to hold the darn thing. Yeah, I didn't plan that bit, did I? Hello. Just going to do a bit more here. So this would be younger rust, fresher rust, fresh as daisy, right from the farm. On the roof here, we'll just get dead generous. We'll go in. Ooh, knock the camera, of course, obvs. Get a bit more paint on the brush. So it's a bit like dry brushing, sort of. And the other reason I wanted to use this method, I could airbrush it, but the other advantage to this method is, using my left hand now, see if I can do this, keep it out of the way of the camera. Oh, I can spackle with my left hand, hello. The other reason to use this method, as opposed to just airbrushing bits on, is A, it gives a really spotty, patchy look, which is brilliant, but B, if you're lucky, you might also get a little tiny bit of texture. And as you know, when you see rust on a car, sometimes it's fairly smooth, but sometimes it's all kind of scruffy and lumpy, and sometimes the paint bubbles up. I'm going to do this so you can see it on camera. Sometimes the paint bubbles up underneath where the metal is oxidizing. And it might, if you look, it might just give you a little bit of texture. It might look a bit out of scale. This kind of scale, you'd probably be alright. If you're doing a smaller, bigger scale vehicle like 135, yeah, it might not look quite so realistic. So that's going to do it for that bit. That's really all I'm looking for. It's just a little bit of knocking the camera. It's the cables, you see. All the cables go down the side, right where I put the paint, because I'm dead special. A bit more, just blend it a bit more. And what I'm going to do, I'll go around the rest of the pieces, and then what I'll also do as well is I'm not just going to leave it those two colours. To my little collection of paint, I may mix in some random amounts of red and yellow just so I can get more orangey colours, and then I might mix in some black for some darker colours here and there. And I'll do that all over the bits I've painted rust. So I'll go away and do all those. We might have like 3 or 4 different colours on there, but with rust really it's just about making as many different colours as you can get, from bright orange to really dark brown, almost black, and just randomise it. I'll probably keep the really, really bright light orange stuff sparse, as same with the dark. The majority of it is this dark, is this medium brown, the shadow rust, and then some of this, what's this called again? Red brown base. And again, keep in mind, 99% of this is going to disappear. So let me go and get that sorted. Right, that is all the excessive stippling done. As you can see now, everything is super, super rusty. It looks a bit more extreme on camera, again, because of the white balance. But it's not quite that extreme. It's not quite as bright red as it appears on camera. But I've covered everything. Doors, the entire chassis, the floor pan. Not quite so much the floor pan. I've left that a bit more in the yellowy shades. I basically mixed a few colours. I used the red-brown base to start with. Then I mixed in some of the yellow Amigo 48, and that gave me a lighter colour, which is kind of this sort of colour here. Then I mixed in some flat red, which is Amigo 49, and that gave me that kind of bright red. I don't know where the camera is. Hello. So that kind of reddier colour, and I used less of the, as I went along, you saw how much of the red brown I used, and I used less of the yellow added mix, just focusing around areas where there's most rust and existing damage, and then even less of the red. So yeah, it came out quite well. Really pleased with that. It gives me a nice random spackly look. Not really much texture, a little hint of texture, so it's a little rough but nothing major. Now obviously this looks like it's been out in a field for 40 years and it's just rusted to hell. We're going to lose most of this, because what we're going to do in the next episode is start the masking process. I just wanted to make sure that when we do expose some rust, it isn't just all one uniform brown colour. It might be in some places, but it means if I have, say, 3 or 4 chips here, they might all be different shades and patches. So that's what I'm looking for. Most of this is going to be covered up. But if you look at a car that's rusty, it's got some rust spots, you can guarantee most of the car's probably rusty under the paint. You just can't see it. So I will leave these to dry. We'll leave it to the next episode when we'll start the masking and then painting the main body colours and all that shenanigans. It just remains for me to say, as always, thank you so much for watching. It's really, really appreciated. If you're watching it on eModel's channel or if you're watching it on my channel, either way, thank you very much. Do pop along to, or thank you to the guys at eModels. As I've said before, they provided the materials and the model for this kit. It's not a paid for or sponsored video, but they did provide the kit and the materials. Full disclosure. Do pop along to eModels, emodels.co.uk. It's a fantastic online web store. They've got so much tools, kits, materials, paints, anything you need. They've got a great range of various different paints, everything from Tamir and Humbrol to Mr. Hobby and all kinds of stuff. The Ammo by Mig stuff that I've used, and everything I've used here you should be able to get from them. I always say if they haven't got it, you don't need it. That's usually because they've got such a wide range of stock that if they haven't got exactly what you're looking for, they'll have something else that's just as good. So keep your mind open. But yeah, go along, order some things, spend all your money with Pete Mate and Gav Mate. Hey Pete Mate and Gav Mate. Go and spend money with them, and also go along to their Facebook page, facebook.com/eModelsLTD. It's a nice little community. You can hang out with other builders, you can show off your work, and you can ask for advice, and also they give you heads up on new releases, special offers, and they also post up a reminder of their weekly video live stream with Captain Skipper Ted, my good friend Ted, who does Mondays at 8 PM GMT. He does a live stream for eModels. I was on the last one. If they're good, I could do a live stream and not have to panic about actually having to do anything in the live stream, like, you know, maintaining the frame rate or making sure the microphones work. It was great. I could just sit there and have a chat. So they do that every Monday. So yeah, go along and check them out. And last of all, as always, check out my stuff. I'm Model Making Guru on Facebook, Twitter, and on the YouTubes. This will go up on my channel about a week after it goes up on eModels. So, but go and watch this on eModels. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you're following along with this, go and get messy. This is very messy fun. But I love that look. Dead simple. You just slapping a brush on. Dead. What I found as well, one last little tip. I always do a little tip just before I go. When I did the second and third coats, the lighter colours, I wasn't so much jamming the brush in. I was just touching it to the surface to get a smaller, more subtle spackly effect. So back off a little bit with the brush. Still the same amount of paint. I was just backing off a little bit. So yeah. Take care of yourselves. Go make something cool. Stay tuned for the next one. And until next time, as always, adios amoebas.